Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Zero from TechDragon.info, and today we have another tactical with tanks. Subweek has finished, Subweek Part 2, or second Subweek, or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, we're back to our regular schedule. Not sure if I'm gonna have a sub replay this Saturday, because we just did an entire week of sub replays. I'm not sure. Couple of short notifications before we start here. I'm starting to work on a new TechDragon.info everything. I completely chucked out the previous website, completely deleted it, and I'm gonna completely overhaul the website. I got a couple of plans, some of which are gonna be very interesting, hopefully for you guys. And yeah, see if we can grow TechDragon as well as the channel. And hopefully, just a very brief overview of what I'm gonna do. Yeah, I'm gonna make the website to support the channel and the channel to support the website. So you're gonna find content on both parts that will add to each other, and on the website it might be easier to find something while the video is on YouTube. You know, they're gonna add to each other, and I'm gonna merge them together somewhat. So that's the plan, at least. Anyways, not important right now, but it does mean I'm gonna have a lot less time, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna have a video up every single day. I'll try to, but I'm gonna completely build this website from scratch, so that's gonna take a lot of time. So yeah, the channel might suffer a little bit from it because I have nobody else that can make this. It's just me. So yeah. Anyways, today we're gonna take a look at armor, and yeah, we're still doing this little show to help people out that are around level 5 or level 5, well, tier 5, that are sort of stuck and don't know how to progress and become better at the game. And today we're going to take a look at armor and weak spots and penetration, all those kind of stuff. So, I have the KV4. This is a tier 8, very, very armored tank. Now this is Tank Inspector, as you can see at the top here. If I don't forget, I'm going to put a link in the description. You can download it for yourself. Take a brief look here. All the tanks are in here. Sometimes you can even find tanks in here that you normally can't find. T4485 for instance, T44-122. There's a couple of interesting tanks in here. SU-76I, A32. There's a lot of interesting tanks in here that you normally don't see. But anyways, we are with the KV4. Doesn't matter what tank I pick, but this is a good example. So, first off, this is Tank Inspector, and you can see a lot of stuff. You can see details, like stats on a tank, which can be really handy, but I think we'll do a different episode on Tank Inspector altogether. So, for now, we're gonna go back here, and I click this button, and you can see the colors. The colors represent this bar here. As you can see, it goes from green to red, red being the thickest armor. As you can see, it has a lot of thick armor. Now, as you can also see, the top, and if you look down here, you can see how much armor it has, or the equivalent, and I'll get to that in a second. So up here it's only 40 millimeters. So artillery hits this thing at the top, it's gonna go through, period. It's always gonna go through. Now, what this means is it's the armor thickness plus the angle that results in the equivalent thickness. Now, if you can't grasp this concept of angling and why it's useful, I'm gonna show you, hopefully, how. So, okay, let's take this piece of track here, right? Let's do it like this. Okay, now, measure the track straight on, like this. How thick is it? About a centimeter? 2/3 of an inch, something like that? I don't know, it's kind of hard to guess, but let's say it's something like that, right? Now, if we were to angle the armor, if you measure it now, that's more, right? We're still doing the same vertical measurement here. It's kind of hard to keep the mouse exactly still, but just measure it like that. So, just by turning this thickness, effective thickness, has become more. It's the same as this. You can see, that's only that wide. If we angle it, it becomes, well, let's measure over here, like this, which is almost 1.5 times the thickness. So that's how it works. Yeah, hopefully you understand what I mean there. Like, if you measure it like this, or if you measure it like that, is what it comes down to. the diagonal is always longer than a straight line, right? So the same goes for the armor. So if we look at this tank dead on, this plate is 192 millimeters. Normal armor is 180, as you can see. That's the actual thickness. So there's already some sloping. If you take a look at the side, yep, it's sloped back. So you already have some. Well, it's 180 millimeters normally, but because of its sloping, as you can see, slightly sloped back, we already get 12 extra millimeters of armor on here, just because it's sloped. Now, what does angling mean, or side scraping, or it means? Well, side scraping is something different. Let's leave that out for a second. Angling. Right now, it's 194 millimeters thick, right? What if I were to angle my tank like this? All of a sudden, we're looking at 212 millimeter. 201, 200. That's about the weakest spot. If we look at it dead on, it's 194. Go a bit lower. It's about 200. Because this sloping becomes more effective, as you can see. It gets sloped back more the lower we go. The higher we go, the flatter it becomes. So, yeah, that's what it does. Let's take a look at the lower plate now. Dead on, 182. Start to angle it. 186. Angle it. 190. And as you can see, we can almost get it to about 200. I mean, the further you get away, the more angling you get, the higher value. So, right here it's just under 200. This thing, as you can see here, is only 160 millimeters. We're getting 40 millimeters of extra armor just by angling like this. And that's what angling is about. You angle your armor. This works in every tank, okay? It doesn't matter what tank you have, it works in every tank. Now, some are just more effective. So let's take, oh, I have a good example. Let's take the M7. As you can see, this thing, 43 millimeters of armor. It's sloped back quite well, right? Now if you look at the right hand side here, this part is only 38 millimeters, but just because of the sloping, which is effectively the same thing as angling, it's just pre-angled. The sloping already gives it just under 10 more millimeters of armor. On 38, 10 more, that's quite major. If we angle it like this, we go up to 47. Yeah, that's about the max. 48 maybe. So we got from 38 to 48. That's 10 extra millimeters. Now, that's not a lot, right? This thing is known to be not armored. But it does mean that even on this thing, you can get it up to 50 millimeters of armor instead of 40. Or 30 even. 38. So again, it's not great, but it's an improvement. And it does give you the opportunity to bounce. Now, if they have enough penetration, they're gonna pen anyways. But that's the thing you need to remember. Angling, it's not a guarantee to bounce. But it does give you a way better chance to bounce. So, this game is all about increasing your odds, increasing your chance of survival. If you angle, you increase your chance of survival. If you have a tank with a glaring weak spot, let's see, what shall we take? I think a T29 is good for that. Well, maybe not so much. Oh, I know. Let's go with a T14. Okay. Now, as you can see, it has a weird thingamajiggy here, right? There's a hole. Well, that's where a machine gun port is. This is another one of those tanks. The armor is only 51 millimeters, but just frontally, it's already 70 millimeters because of the sloping. It's very sloped. And if you angle it, it goes up to 80. Even 90 if you go far away, but the weakest part is about 80. Yeah, give or take. So, yeah, angle this thing and you can increase your armor from 50 to 80. That's the thing you can do with angling. Now, don't over-angle. Like, if you angle like this, your sight is an auto ricochet. Like 200, 400 millimeters. You can see 330 millimeters is what I need to get through to pen you here. That's in the spaced armor here. So, let's just look at this sight. Let's cut off the tank here. If you just show this sight, it's going to be an auto ricochet. They cannot pen you here. because its two angles the shell will always ricochet. And that's what side scraping is. You set up a building right here, you cover your complete side, you pull back, drive back, so all you're showing is like this part of your tank, just the side. Your turrets, let's turn the turret real quick, like this. You shoot, you drive forward, and all they can see is the side here, and maybe the side of your turret, but most of this is going to be an auto ricochet zone, and that's how side scraping works. I'll show you in a video at some point once we actually do some gameplay, but that's the numbers of side scraping. So, weak spots. Of course the top, as you can see, is weak as hell again, but unless you're artillery, that usually doesn't matter. Weak spots, if you look at a tank and you see a machine gun port like this, that is usually a weak spot. Let's take a look. Over here it's 65mm. It's weaker than this armor, and this armor is sloped. So if you want to shoot this tank, if you come across it, and I really shouldn't tell you because I like playing this tank. And we are back. My tank inspector crashed. This for some reason doesn't like me recording it. It does crash from time to time, so we're just gonna have to hurry here. So as you can see in here, it's only 40mm. So if you have a chance, shoot inside this port. It's not as armored as the rest at all. As you can see, it's only about 50mm, while if you shoot here it's 70. So it's a huge advantage if you shoot in here. So let's take a look at a different tank where we can see the differences in armor a bit better. Let's take a look at the T1 Heavy. If you look at this thing frontally, it has quite a bit of armor, right? This here, I'll take a look. Oh, this armor is, nah, dang it, it's screwed up. You see the machine gun port here? Yeah, I know it's a bit dark, but you see that one? Take a look with colors. You can see that this is actually a weaker spot than this. This is about 80mm. This is 72. Yeah, 71. It's not a massive weak spot, but it is almost 10mm less than the rest. So, yeah. As you can see, the lower plate here, well, the middle plate, I guess, is very strong. Don't shoot there. Lower plate, don't even try on this tank. It's too small. You'll auto ricochet on it. So your best bet when you're facing this thing frontally is right here, if you have enough pen. Now, let's go to a tank with a turret. Super Pershing. Good example. This thing is riddled with spaced armor. As you can see, all the blue is spaced armor, right? Now, weak spots. Right up here. 122mm. This is a tier 8, so 122mm might seem like a lot, but it's not. As you can see here, the machine gun port, that's a hole. Straight through, it's only 76mm. So, these are the things you're looking for. Machine gun ports, hatches on top of a tank. Then there's some specific ones on tanks, but in case of Super Pershing, the turret cheeks here. And sometimes, if you can, right underneath the gun mantlet here, if you're looking at the side, right through here. But that's Super Pershing specific. The hatch goes for pretty much every tank. Take a look here, hatch up top there. It's still 106mm, but it's better than shooting this. This is a ricochet. This is 108mm, which every tier 8, 9, or 10 can pen. So, weak spots, hatches on top, always weak spots. Machine gun ports in the front hull, not always a weak spot, but very often. And I'll show you a little trick, as it were. This might be a little bit too high level for you, but I'm going to show you anyways. The ST1. Yeah, the armor model is screwed up. But if you take a look here, do you see this? Right here, 51mm. I can't zoom in any further. But you see this yellow bit? It slopes down. How I deal with ST1s, damn it, I still said it wrong, is I have a trick. I shoot him in the turret ring right here. The shell ricochets, goes in there, and actually penetrates him. And I can penetrate him reasonably reliably with just 175 pen. With a Russian 122mm, I can pen ST1s. Yeah, frontally. As you can see, for any of this, you're gonna need 190mm at the very, very least. I mean, even his hatch is very well armored, but this turret ring, if you're close enough that you can shoot that reliably, 1 in 3 shots will more than likely penetrate, even with a Super Pershing. I can pen these things. So yeah, it's a little trick I found out myself. As you can see, that's where the armor is. That's where you're lobbing your shells in. So you pretty much ricochet them off the top here. They go down and they go into the hole there. It's a really nice spot, and I don't think a lot of people know about it. And you don't need excessive amounts of pen to actually do it. You just need a bit of accuracy. But yeah, the rest of this thing is so freaking armored frontally. You need over 200 penetration to go through its hull, but even that, good luck. It's more likely not gonna happen. You need about 190 to go through the lower plate here. It's still quite a bit, and if he angles a bit, you know, it goes up quite fast. Very, very difficult target to pen. So that's what you're looking for: hatches, turret ring, machine gun ports. That's frontally. I'm not going to talk about the sides because you can usually pen them, you know, without too much trouble. So anything else? Take a look at the Churchill. Over here, 120 millimeters. Over here, only 50. And the turret is 89. So this bit here, don't shoot it. See, you can literally see. This is a machine gun port. In the middle, you can pen it. On the outside, there's a plate on it, and if you just look at it, you can actually see there's a plate there. So, you know, it stands to reason that you don't want to pen it there. And I think that's it for this episode, guys. A bit longer than I was hoping for, but hopefully you have a better idea of what armor does, how you angle it. Like I said, it works in every tank. It works better on tanks with, you know, more armor, obviously. But even on a tank with very little armor, you can still increase your chances to ricochet. I'm not saying you're gonna ricochet, but at least increase your chances to ricochet. So I think that was it. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, please subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.